The Trellis and the Vine is the title of the book, but you've got a very provocative subtitle that says the mind shift that changes everything.
Yeah.
What are you and Tony talking about when you say the mind shift that changes everything?
Well, we were thinking about that theological mind shift, that we're all involved as a community of disciples making disciples. But as we've talked to lots of pastors in our workshops the last 5 years, we've come to the conclusion that it's not just a mind shift. Because it's to do with church culture, the mind shift is the starting point. That is the theological understanding of what church looks like, what every member ministry looks like. But you also need, as well as the mind shift, some clear building blocks or phases or steps to move the church from what the culture is now to what you want it to be. And that's where we're going in a sequel that we're writing, if I can put an ad in here, to do more about what do you actually change systematically over time, maybe even over many years, to implement the mind shift. Trellis and Vine ended sort of, here's a few ideas. Now we've done 5 or 6 years of workshops, so we've got some more things to say about the Trellis, about how to organise church life so that the mind shift is being implemented. And the mind shift is being spread across the congregation slowly. And not just a few people thinking about it, but the whole congregation thinking this way. And we're thinking that's a long-term thing, not just a quick fix. And it's got to bubble up from theology, from our convictions, and then bubble out to the whole congregation. And the leadership of the church, it has to start with them. You can't just start you can, but it doesn't work just to talk about it from up front. The leadership have to model it.
Tell us about some feedback you've had from the book. What are some of the feedbacks you've done? Of course, not only read the book, wrote the book, but I know you and Tony around the world have done a series of Trellis and Vine conferences for pastors and church leaders. How has that affected churches leaders? What's been some feedback for you?
Yeah, I think there's some frustration. There's frustration about we've read the book, we understand the principles, but what are the next steps? I think as a community, we've tended to underestimate the power of the resistance of the existing culture in a church. Every church has its own culture. Every church has a ministry culture. And we've underestimated the difficulty of changing that culture. So we've done a lot more thinking about that. And I think that's been some of the key feedback to us. We love the idea, we've taught it around the place, we've tried a few things, but it's not really getting embedded deeply in the life of our church and the thinking of our people. So we're working on this new project to do a lot more work on that. What steps and phases and processes of change can we go through as a leadership team and then take to the whole church to embed this kind of vine work culture in the whole congregation.